Ava Thompson had always been known as the quiet girl sitting in the back of her classes, brilliant, dedicated, and hardworking, but never loud enough to take credit for anything she achieved. She grew up in a small, worn-out apartment on the east side of Willow Creek, where every day began with the same familiar sounds. Her father, Daniel Thompson, waking before sunrise, tying his faded work shoes, and preparing for another long shift as a janitor at Willow Creek High. He had worked there for 29 years, sweeping floors, cleaning bathrooms, wiping gum off desks, repairing broken chairs, and unclogging pipes, anything and everything that kept the school running. Most students never noticed him, and the ones who did often ignored him. Daniel never minded. He believed dignity came from earning your living honestly, no matter the job. To Ava, he was more than a janitor, he was her hero. A gentle, soft-spoken man who raised her alone after her mother left, who took extra shifts so she could attend a better tutoring program, who brought home discarded library books so she could read, and who taught her to hold her head high even when life seemed unfair. Ava worked hard not because she wanted to prove something to the world, but because she wanted to repay her father's sacrifices. And finally, her day arrived. As a high-achieving student at Willow Creek High, Ava was selected to deliver the valedictorian speech at the senior graduation ceremony, a moment she knew would change everything. But there was something even more significant. For years she had hidden the truth of her life from her classmates. Not out of shame, but out of fear that people would judge her father unfairly. She had overheard students mocking the janitor, laughing about his worn uniform, his old shoes, and the way he pushed his cart quietly down the hallway. They never knew he was her father. Ava carried that weight alone. But tonight, she decided she would not hide anymore. She had earned the highest GPA in the school's history, won national academic contests, received full scholarships, and was on her way to a top university, yet her greatest accomplishment was not academic. It was honoring the man who had given her everything. Graduation night arrived, filling the school auditorium with proud families and flashing cameras. The hall buzzed with excitement. Ava, in her navy blue cap and gown, sat on the stage with the other honor students, her speech folded tightly in her trembling hands. Daniel stood quietly in the back wearing his janitor uniform. He had come straight from cleaning the gym foyer, a job he volunteered for just so he could be close. He didn't want to take a seat among the families, he didn't think he belonged there. But Ava noticed him immediately. Her heart ached seeing him stand alone, holding a small bouquet of daisies he bought from a convenience store. When the principal announced Ava's name, applause thundered across the hall. She stepped forward, her heart pounding, but her steps steady. She had rewritten her speech the night before, choosing truth over perfection. Standing at the podium, she looked out at the sea of faces, students, teachers, parents, and then at her father who stood in the shadowed back corner. She took a deep breath. "Good evening, everyone," she began, her voice soft but steady. "Tonight is not just a celebration of our achievements, but of the people who helped us get here." Parents leaned forward, expecting the usual acknowledgments. Ava continued, "Some of you know me as the top student, the girl who always got straight A's, the girl who won awards, but none of that would have been possible without one person." She paused, scanning the hall. "My father." Daniel shifted uncomfortably, lowering his gaze. Ava raised her chin. "Many of you have seen him, but you never knew he was my father." Murmurs rippled across the audience. Some students frowned in confusion. Others glanced at each other. Ava took a deep breath. "My dad is Daniel Thompson. He's the school janitor." The hall fell into complete silence, the kind that felt heavy and electric at the same time. Not a whisper. Not a breath. Daniel froze where he stood, mortified, believing she would now face shame because of him. But Ava stood tall. "I used to feel afraid to tell people what he did," she continued. "Not because I was ashamed, but because I was afraid others wouldn't understand the value of a man who spends his life making sure this school is clean, safe, and running." A single, shaky tear rolled down her cheek. "My father wakes up at 4 a.m., walks miles some days because our car broke down, and still shows up with a smile. He never complains. He never asks for recognition. He simply works, because he believes I deserve every chance he never got." People in the audience began to blink rapidly, some wiping their eyes. Her classmates stared at her in shock. "Every night when I studied, I could hear him coming home tired," she said. But he always asked me how my day was. He always said, "Ava, you're going to do great things." And tonight, I want to tell him something. She turned fully toward her father. "Dad, you made great things possible." Cameras flashed. People gasped. Whispering turned into open admiration. For the first time in his life, Daniel looked up, eyes wide, mouth parted, completely overwhelmed. "I am proud to be the daughter of a janitor," she declared, her voice fierce, powerful. Because the value of a person is never measured by the job they hold, but by the heart they carry. The hall erupted, first with sniffles, then applause, then a standing ovation that shook the entire room. Teachers who had worked with Daniel wiped their eyes. Students who had ignored him stared with newfound respect. Even the principal clapped with genuine emotion. Daniel couldn't move. Tears streamed down his cheeks, tears he had held back for years. Ava stepped off the stage and walked straight to him through the cheering crowd. She hugged him tightly, whispering, "You never have to stand in the back again." That moment changed everything. After the ceremony, people lined up to shake Daniel's hand. Students apologized for never seeing him. Parents thanked him. For the first time in decades, Daniel felt seen, not as a janitor, but as a father, a hero, a man who mattered. And Ava knew she had given him something far more valuable than any award she had ever earned: dignity in the eyes of those who never looked his way. That night, as they walked home hand in hand, Daniel whispered, "You gave me the proudest moment of my life." Ava smiled through happy tears. "No, Dad, you gave me mine." And Willow Creek High would forever remember the night when a girl revealed the truth on stage, and silence turned into the loudest respect the school had ever shown.